everyone, Diane here, welcome to my studio. Today I was just flicking through this little booklet that I made a little while ago, which has just got notes in it about colour mixing and stuff, and I realised that what I'd done was I was painting on coloured paper, toned paper. This is slightly not white, and I was thinking how nice that looks. It does have a kind of authentic sort of vintage type of look to it, doesn't it? And the slightly toned background to the paper kind of unifies everything that you put on top. So I thought, well, I don't know whether most people are going to have coloured paper, but what you can do, and is not difficult, is you can tone your own sheet of paper. And here I have my last sheet of Etcher watercolor cold press. This is wood pulp. It's not 100% cotton like the Meaden, but it is glued down all the way around, so it's on a block. And I thought I would do something, and I'm not sure what is going to emerge. I kind of have in mind it would be some doodly flower, leafy, shapy thingies. And so in order to tone this sheet with a neutral colour, I'm looking at my palette, which has got some remnants. This is remnants of the Chinese junk boat that I was painting yesterday. This is the sails, and this is the boat and the mountains and the sky. And this is kind of left over. But what I can do is I can take my mop brush and I can just mix this all together, all of it. So, you know, waste not, want not, and all the rest of it. And see what we've got. And we'll have a kind of grey, obviously, because that's what you get. And so in order to just improve that a little bit, I want it to be more on the yellow ochre side, sort of yellowish, like this colour. So I've added yellow ochre, obviously, and I've just mixed up a puddle. It's not entirely even, and it doesn't matter if it doesn't go on completely evenly. And then I am literally going to just paint this on. And if this paper behaves badly, then which it has, then I'm going to say, therein lies the difference between good paper and bad. Because I'm going to do this now, I'm going to do this again. You see what's happened? You see what's happened? Okay, so we'll start that again. Now I have a sheet of Meaden, and this is what's happened here. So let's see whether Meaden can come up with a better result than that, shall we? Brand new, I've just unwrapped it. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I'm just putting a wash on. Sometimes it's useful when you're doing this kind of wash just to set your paper at a slight angle. And then just, you don't need to do 100,000 strokes across the paper as if you were painting a wall. Just go from the top to the bottom, feeding the paint in, and you say to yourself, yes, there we are. Look at the difference. Etcher cellulose paper, Meaden, perfect, absolute perfect even wash. Well, you know, really, you could use this when that's dry. You could use it, but I think what's happened here, and I haven't had this a very long time. I don't remember it being as bad as this before. I think what's happened here is that the sizing, the chemical that they put onto the paper to make it not unevenly absorb the paint, I think the sizing has given up the ghost, so to speak. It's not working properly, even though this is probably about 3 years old. It's not hugely ancient. So it just goes to show, really, it's not a good idea to have paper lying around for a long time, because if you do, it might do this. I think it's probably that. I can't think what else it could possibly be that's made it do that. I don't think it did that before. Because I used the whole block. You know, I'm on, probably I've got 2 pages left there. I don't know. Anyway, what we'll do now is we'll let that dry, and then we'll come in and do our design on top of that. But that has made an absolutely perfect wash there. Perfect, perfectly even from top to bottom. There is no gradation. I'm not sure if you can see it completely clearly on the camera, but I'm looking at it in real life and I'm suitably impressed. And so what did I do? I mixed up a very thin wash of paint like this. I used my mop brush. This is the Craftmo one from the Craftmo set, which holds a lot of paint. And then I just literally came over the whole thing on a slight angle, only about 10 or 15 degrees angle, and just brushed that in. And now I'm going to let it dry, and then we'll be back in a minute to do the next thing. I might leave it to dry on a slight angle. I might put it down flat. I'm not sure. I might use the hair dryer to dry it. Anyway, we'll see. This is all about real life. This is all about authenticity. This is authentic life in the studio. Things don't always go the way you expect them to or hope that they will. And I'm sure most of the other creators who are out there doing the same thing as me find this happens to them too. So I will be back shortly. Okay, so that's dry, and I've got some inexpensive quinacridone gold here. This is from Rosa, the Ukrainian company, and it's not the best quinacridone that there is, but this is only a play. And I'm going to put in some, the gold colour first for the petals of this floral arrangement, and we're not going to try too hard to make them even. So that's just sort of like the background, and then I need a darker orange colour for the centre here. So we'll just pop in some of this, which is Indian red, and we'll let that run a bit, and then maybe we'll mix that in with what we've got on the palette already and darken that up a bit, and then maybe we'll put another one down here. Maybe we'll stick to 5 petals because most have 5, and then we could oh no, I don't want anything as dark as that. I'm going to try to be systematic here. I'm using the cat's tongue brush. Something I'm going to try is to soften outside edges a bit with the brush, not all the way around, but just some of it, like that. And we're not making a song and a dance. We're not making any kind of massive, procedure out of this. We're just putting paint and paper together. So this is one that's got doodahs like that, and then we'll put some orange in the middle. So you should always really start with your lightest colours first and then move on from there. So I'm going to go to the Indian red now, and we'll put a few blobby ones over here perhaps. I'm going to make this a bit more rounded. And then maybe now we can come to the dark brown and put in a dark browny black centre for that one, maybe. Yeah, that needs to be darkened up a bit too. You know me, when you get to this point, you're thinking, is this actually going to work? Well, I don't know. But what does that mean anyway? It's going to work if it's going to cause me to shift from one frame of mind to another. Now I'm going to come back in now with some green, and what I have here is a kind of mixture of turquoise green and turquoise blue from the set here. This is turquoise blue, this is turquoise green deep, And then if we just mix a little bit of quinacridone into that, that gives us a more greeny kind of colour. And we can dip in there like that. We can put one down here like that and pump in at the bottom. Leave gaps. Let's have a big one up here. Pump in. And leave gaps, and it, with any luck, will run in an irregular way. And then let's mix more of the quinacridone into that to give us a really dark green. And let's draw a fine stem up there like that. Let's see if we can put in some small. I'm sticking to the same brush. Try and use the same brush all the way through on this particular one. So you'll get a different effect if you do that. You definitely will. Let's add a bit more quinacridone. Let's put in some more leaves. Anywhere. Okay, so that's a start. Let's switch back to the brownish colours and put something here and here perhaps. Maybe this one wants a stem. Just wondering what's the best thing to do next. What you can do, if you want to, you can scrape into the wet paint with one of these, with either this Chinese thing, or you can just use any old stick from the garden. And you'll get a darker line where the paint settles into the groove that you've just created on the paper. So, and if it's nearly dry, when you do that, you'll get a lighter line. But this actually is quite an effective way to give more interest in your painting. If it's nearly dry, you'll get some kind of light like that. Like that. Yes, there we are. So you can call that stamens in the middle there. And this one perhaps too. Okay, now we need to start thinking about something a little bit smaller, I think, and darker. So we'll mix up some dark green. I'm going to put a bit of indigo, if I can find it, in there. So we've got indigo, turquoise deep, and a touch of quinacridone. And let's see what we can do with this big brush. think we need a green over here. A darker one here, perhaps two. It's all about building up, and at some point you'll feel the need to connect things perhaps, or to overlap things a bit. And I'm not sure, I kind of want to, yes. What do I want to do? I think I need some brown, some darker brown. So this is raw umber. And I think I'm gonna try spattering a little bit. Okay. That just gives you a little bit of a starting point. Then you might say, right, now I can join them up. And these ones too. Put some really dark spots in the center of the flowers. This one needs to be scraped out a bit. Okay. You can tell I'm concentrating on this because I'm not talking really, am I? I think I might have to actually switch to a slightly smaller brush to get some of the smaller details in here that I want to do. So that one is going to go to one side, and let's go to a, what is this? This is a number 10 round. And if we've got a mistake or something we don't like, we can lift that out. Let me see. Indigo. Make a nice dark green. A bit more quinacridone to keep it green rather than blue. add a bit of brown. Yes, we definitely need some brown. You can add to these beige ones here a little bit of brown if you want. I think we want some orange here. And like I said, you can overlap. You don't need to keep things from touching each other. You can come back into the centers of these ones and give them a bit more character if you want. I think we need a bit more spatter. Sometimes the spatter that you want, though, is bigger than what you get. So you need to put a lot of paint on your brush, a lot of liquid, and then you can get the big dots like that you're after. It just needs to have a very full brush. And we're filling all the spaces, really, with shapes. We can add more sort of mini flowers like this. You can do them in green. You don't have to be, the flowers don't have to be yellow, do they? You can put some dots here. Paint down one side of some of your leaves if you want. Paint into them, let that run because that one's still wet. That's okay. This one too, you can make one side darker. So the thing is, you get to this point and you think, what do I need to do next? And you could put in a few touches of really dark blue, for example. Here and there. This is indigo. We are using Kuretake mostly, except for that touch of Quinacridone. And the dark blue is going to lift some of it. We can even these out a little bit more, I think. And then you decide at this point whether you're going to doodle on top of it or whether you're going to leave it as a watercolor painting. And for me, it's a case of, well, if I'm not happy with what I've achieved, then I probably would be inclined to say, let's doodle over the top. But if I feel that it's got any virtue at all, if it's worked at all, then I would probably be inclined to leave it as a watercolor. Okay, I don't want to go on top of the, I think that's still wet, so I'm going to dry that. Try not to smudge it with my hand. So we're going to go from there, I think. and brown, probably mixed with indigo, for something really dark in the center here. Just leave a little bit of light. And this one, I think, probably needs might need some white, because that looks too dark. So I might go to my white gouache, find a smaller brush. Let's put a little bit of white in there, and perhaps in here too. Okay, I think the thing to do now is to let it dry and see if it needs anything else once it's dry. Okay, so that's dry, and I'm sort of thinking what I need to do now is to just put in some really small, dark, reddish details. Maybe, I don't know, that I knew I was going to put my hand on that eventually. You'll just have to turn it into something else. So this is what they call purple mixed with some blue. The turquoise blue gives you a very nice dark purpley colour. And trying to think where to put it. Probably ought to dilute it a bit so that you can see the colour a bit better. I think that's probably enough. And like I said, if you wanted to, you could doodle over the top of it, and you know, it might improve it. So what I would do, if I wasn't happy with what I've done, and I would let it dry first anyway, completely. And if I'm still not happy with it, then I would take a photo or scan it or whatever and print it out on my photocopier, and then try doodles or extra line work or whatever, try it out, see what happens, and then decide whether or not I want to do it to the real thing, or whether it's just one to cut up and turn into bookmarks, which is also possible. But it was a nice way to spend some time. And I do want to mention before we go, please go to our website and sign up for our newsletter, which is now coming out every week on Saturdays. And it's full of interesting things, news and offers and all sorts of things for you to enjoy, the occasional poem. So, yeah, there's no cost. You don't have to pay anything. You can just sign up for the newsletter. Just go to our website and do that, if you wouldn't mind. We would appreciate that. That would be great. What else? Patreon. Join Patreon. You can join Patreon from $2.99 a month. And you then can belong to the Facebook group, and you get all sorts of things, and there's more benefits coming all the time, which we tell you about in the newsletter. So if you want to keep fully informed about what's going on with our channel, you probably know more than we do if you go and sign up for the newsletter. And there we are. I think I'm going to stop now. So I will see you at dianeantone.com And oh yes, that's where all the free sketches are. All the paintings that have got sketches, the ones that need it, they're all there. And they don't cost anything unless you want to pay, and you can if you want. So there we are. The lesson to be learnt from that was toning the background. You want to use Meaden paper, not etcher. At least not if your etcher is 3 years old, because obviously it's lost its will to live. And when you've got a toned background, you're going to get a very harmonious painting like this. So, hope you enjoyed that, and I will say goodbye for now, and I will see you again soon. So bye everybody. Bye bye for now. Bye bye.